guys, it's Ronnie, and this is Ronnie Rambles, episode 3. I am back, and for those of you who are watching on YouTube, which all 5 of you, you may notice I am not in my dark room, but I'm actually in my office. And I did hint at this, I think, last week, but I didn't want to talk about it. I mentioned our dinner parties, which I hosted one, which I'll give you in my update. I'm all excited. My brain's going a mile a minute. I am home alone in my house. Now, anyone who is married and has kids, or just has kids, knows what a treat this is. This is like a gift from the heavens. I've been alone for nearly 24 hours now in my house. Especially during the pandemic, it's like, I can't even describe it. I have just done whatever I've wanted with no interruption, nobody saying mommy, no one waking me up in the morning, no one asking me for food, nothing. Okay, so let me back up. At this time every year for at least the last 5 years, the husband and I have planned a long resort weekend. We've been doing it since, I was 39 and my friend was turning 40 and she invited us along her resort vacation, and that's how she was celebrating her 40th. And then we fell in love with the whole all-inclusive resort vacation for just like a 4-night weekend. And it's something that we've been doing now every end of July, beginning of August, whenever it makes sense. And it was kind of a way for me and the husband to like reconnect and have some alone time. Well, this year we had to cancel our plans because we're not flying. And I don't even know if we're allowed to go where we wanted to go, to be honest, which is scary, and I don't want to get into it. But we asked my in-laws if they would watch the kids for a few days so we could kind of recreate a resort vacation at home. I mean, there'll be no beach, and there's no room service, and we have to cook our own meals, but we're making the best of it, and I think it's going to be really fun. So those of you who follow Greenlight Bites on Instagram or Facebook, I actually just earlier or yesterday, whenever you hear this, I don't posted kind of my loose menu ideas for our date night ins during our staycation, just for the husband and I. So I mentioned dinner parties last week, and I really am trying to inspire people to kind of cook more at home and have fun with the idea of cooking for just even themselves, that don't even have to have guests. But usually when we try to go fancy with our date night ins, we'll like pick a meal and I talked about kind of get inspired by a seasonal item or a dish, or like we hosted our summer seafood this past Saturday with friends, and we made like fish and we had roasted vegetables and I made a blueberry cobbler. So it was very seasonal. But this time for our staycation, I'm reversing it. And so instead of kind of picking food or menu items and then pairing it with wine, I picked some wines and then researched what food they go with. So I did kind of like a reverse thing there. But however you keep this is what keeps me going, right? So I enjoy putting together kind of food menus and then cooking. So the husband and I will be cooking the next 3 nights for our date nights in, since we don't go out to eat anymore. Hopefully maybe one day we'll go back out to eat. But to be frank, I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of enjoying the more cooking and fancifying, for lack of a better word, our special meals at home instead of going out. But anyway, so that's why I'm actually even recording this a day early, because I have the house to myself. And I figured, why not? I don't have any fear of being interrupted. So let's see. I have a couple of things I want to talk about this week. I have my first Ask Ronnie, which I used to do all the time. I miss them, and it was kind of great to interact with people on Facebook this week. So I'm going to get to that. I have 2 more cheesy horror movie recommendations. I know no one probably likes them but me, but since I don't have anyone to talk to about them, you're going to be my ear. I'll talk about more of that later. So before I get into everything, I'm going to try to do an update of my week, which these are really more for me than for you, just to kind of ground myself in what's happening. It's actually Thursday night. And Thursdays are my long run days, and I ran 7 miles today. I'm really proud of myself. It was rough and it was hot and I was very sweaty, but I planned out a 7 mile route. Actually, again, through an audible to myself. That's what I call it when I change. I have a plan, I start down the plan, and then I go, nah, let's do this instead. So I do that a lot with my running. I do that with my workouts too. But my gym is about 3.5 miles away. So I thought, okay, there and back. Great. That's 7 miles. So I ran there, felt great. The first half of that run, I felt fantastic. Got there, got a drink of water, stretched for a little bit, and then got headed back. But then I decided to take a different route home, which really worked out. But I'm on a new cadence with my runs or schedule with my runs. I don't know if I brought this up last week, but I'm really shooting for a long run on Thursdays, a trail run on Sundays, and then I do whatever floats my boat any other day, usually some kind of variation of intervals that equal a mile. So my run streak is strong. I cannot again stress enough. I hope people are joining me on a streak. I got a lot of great feedback this week from folks saying that I have inspired them to look into the Nike Run Club app, which I highly recommend. Their guided runs I've been using. I actually used their 7 mile guided run today, and it was great just to have kind of a voice in my ear while I was running telling me to kind of manage my pace or pick it up or slow it down or kind of just distract me during my run. So the streak is still intact. I'm feeling really good. I'm going to, oh gosh, other updates. I can't even think of anything. Work is starting to pick up. I've been consulting, but the semester is on the horizon. And as of now, I finally got my schedule. So I'm going to be spending a lot more time getting ready for the classes that I'm teaching at the community college, which I'm excited about, but also nervous about because as of now, we're planning on getting back into the classroom, but I still don't see it happening because the high school kids and the elementary kids are not going back. So it's just such a strange time. So I'm very much in this mentality of crossing bridges when I get to them, and I'll figure it out when I get there. And I have to remind myself that it's like pregnancy. You know how everyone tells you you can't plan for a pregnancy? You can't plan what you're going to do because you have no idea. That's kind of how I feel about life right now. I can't really plan anything. I got to kind of react to what gets thrown at me. So I'm getting myself in that mind space. Okay, so let me get to the Ask Ronnie this week because it has to do with weight loss, and I'm in an interesting place right now, and I think this question is fantastic. So the question is from Lisa, and I answered her privately. And I'm not going to read my response, but I'm going to try to reference it to make sure I touch all the same points. So her question goes like this, right? Hi, Ronnie. It's nice to see you back sharing your life. Oops, sorry, I moved my camera. Let me start over. Hi, Ronnie. It's nice to see you back sharing your life. I loved watching your boys grow up when you would plan your vacations with them. I was wondering what the top thing you did that has helped you keep your weight off. Have you been a religious calorie tracker? Thanks. Okay, so one, so cool to hear back from people who used to read the blog and then kind of are rediscovering that I'm back online. So that's really exciting. And the boys are still growing. So it's so neat to have so many people that have, again, seen them when they were younger and then our vacations, which we actually did take a vacation this year, but I haven't shared it yet. It was low key, of course, because of the pandemic, but I should share that. It would be kind of fun. But her question specifically, what is the top thing that I have done that has helped me maintain my weight? And has it been calorie tracking? So the short answer is no, it's not calorie tracking. And my response is probably going to really annoy people that want this one thing that's going to work. But I've been at this weight maintaining game for quite a long time, nearly 14 years. And my weight has fluctuated a lot during those times. I even had a pregnancy during that time. So it's an interesting position to be in to talk about weight loss when you were someone known for a large weight loss and now years and years and years have gone by. And actually, I know quite a few other bloggers that I keep tabs on that are in this position. So the one thing I think you would need to know is one, your weight, you don't just lose weight and then just stay there forever. It's just not realistic. Your weight kind of is like a sine wave, right? You have little ebbs and flows. It's going to go up and down, depending on season and what's happening in your life. And I think you kind of have to wrap your mind around that there is no like finish line. And I think once people wrap their head around that, the way they approach weight loss changes. And so the way that I captured the quote unquote one thing that has helped me the most, it's embracing change. Okay, so let me try to put context to this. I have, even since my weight loss, those of you who know me from then, I was a Weight Watchers girl. Weight Watchers back in the day, we're talking like 2005, really worked for me. I was pretty inactive. I didn't work out that much. I took some walks here and there. And their points plan at that time wasn't, I can't really speak to it today because I don't really know how they have changed it over the years. But back then it was really simple. You got a point allocation. You would stay within those points and then you would weigh in once a week. The plan was really cut and dry, and it really had to do with calories. However, things that were like say high protein, low fat were less points than things that were high carb, high fat, for loose terms. Over time, I kind of just knew how to approach food based on the way that points were positioned back then. And I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 70 pounds in 8 months. That was the low end for my height. I'm 5'8.5". I wish I could say 5'9", but I'm really not 5'9". And so after that 80-pound loss, 8 months, 70-pound loss, I was the thinnest I ever was in my entire life, even high school. Like I was at least 10 to 15 pounds lighter than I was when I was like a teenager. So it worked for like a bit of terms. It worked. And I took it really seriously. I went religiously to my meetings every week. I kept a food journal and I looked at it almost as like a class, as something I was doing and I was learning. And then I maintained that for quite a while. But then I started increasing my activity, and I started going to a gym. I started taking step classes. I started running. I started weight training. I started CrossFit. Actually, that's even after my second child. But my point is, I kept trying new things. I don't think after about a year of counting points, even 2 years, it would have worked for me anymore. It starts to backfire. And so I embraced kind of I challenged myself to new things. I challenged myself to start running. I challenged myself to take new classes at the gym. I challenged myself to run a Tough Mudder. I challenged myself, and I kept pushing the envelope with food. Like, let me try new vegetables. Let me try new recipes. Let me try new ways of eating. Let me eat out less. Let me challenge the family to not eat out for a month or things like that. And so I think over time, embracing change is what has kept me in the game and kind of changing my mentality. I'm sure if you count calories forever and you're really diligent on it, it's going to be fantastic and you'll stay thin and you'll lose your weight and you'll be able to maintain it forever. But for me and my personality type, doing something long-term backfires. I start to, life changes. Your job situation might change. Your kids get older. Your relationships change. You have different responsibilities. A parent moves in with you or near you, or your situation changes and you don't maybe have the same energy to devote to something. And so when that happens for me, I change my approach and I go, okay, this isn't working now, so I'll try this. So let me look at some of the examples I gave her. So this is what I said, and I should share my response on Facebook. Counting calories worked for me until it didn't. Going to the gym worked until it didn't. Running worked until it didn't. Weighing daily worked until it didn't. Not weighing at all worked until it didn't. My point is here, things work until your situation changes. And so those of you who know I wrote a book called Do What You Can When You Can, with another blogger. And I really, this kind of captures, or that mantra kind of captures what I'm trying to get at here, which is constantly changing and challenging yourself kind of gives you, it breathes new life into what you're doing. And there's a mentality you have to adopt with that. And the way that I frame it is like your perfectionist mindset. So I used to give this example all the time. You start a new diet. Like, let's say you're going to do keto or you're paleo or whatever. You're counting macros, whatever it might be. And I think all those things are great if they're easy for you and it matches the way you want to live. But if you're forcing yourself like a square peg in a round hole, I think I gave that example last week. If you're forcing it, chances are you're not going to be able to do it long term. And so you might have short term results and then go back. And this perfectionist mindset of, like, let's say even you're going to fast, do intermittent fasting, or you're going to just try low calorie and keep a food journal, whatever it might be. You're 100% in. You're gung ho. Like, this is it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to keep my food journal. I'm only going to eat 20 carbs, whatever it might be. And then something happens. Right? You have a bite of something you didn't want, or someone offers you a donut at work, or like whatever it is. And then you have your like one M&M, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I ruined it. It's over. Forget it. I'm not going to do this. And then you like order pizza for dinner and binge all night and have Ben & Jerry's. Right? So I know the cycle because I've been in the cycle so much. It's such a horrible, horrible cycle to be in. And so this embracing change mentality is an acknowledgement of what you're doing is not working for you. It's not serving you. And it's time to move on, right? So I will use myself as an example. I was a daily weigher for a really long time. I would wake up, go to the bathroom, be completely naked, get on the scale, weigh myself, track it, and go on with my day. And it was fantastic. Months, maybe even years, I think I did it. And it served me well. It kept me accountable. I felt like, I don't know, it gave me structure for my day. If I went up a little bit, I would like go, oh, okay. And then, oh, I had Chinese food. Oh, I'm bloated. And I learned so much. Then over time, it was starting to backfire. I would see the number on scale and it would get me depressed, or I'd be like, oh, I don't really want to think about this right now. I have so much going on with the kids and my job, and this is like another thing. Why am I worrying about this? Why am I doing that? And then what ended up happening was I was trying to force the habit that was working for me, weighing daily, into my life at that moment, which it wasn't working for me. It wasn't serving me anymore. And it was just like, again, I'm going to say it again, square peg, round hole thing. It wasn't fitting anymore in my life. And so I had to step away from the scale for a little while. And then I was kind of free from it. And it's not a step away from the scale in the sense of, I can eat whatever I want now. Great. Woo, yay. No, it's more of I don't want to have to think about that right now. Let me go to a more of an intuitive way of eating. Let me go to just more intuitive. Let me feel good about myself. My clothes will tell me if it's fine. And accept it and not be judgmental to yourself. So I think we're always kind to other people. Like if your friend would come up to you and say, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. I'm weighing every day and it's freaking me out and it's making me binge. And what would you tell that friend? You would say, well, why don't you get off the scale for a little while? Like take a chill, like just eat intuitively, like feel good about yourself, take walks. And you got to take the advice that you would give to somebody else. Right. And so I feel like we keep going down paths knowing they maybe once worked or hoping they will work, but when they're not working, we blame ourselves instead of the thing, and we don't kind of move our target. Does that make sense? So I'm going to look through what else I answered and make sure I'm hitting all the points I wanted to hear. Let's see. Oh, I did mention the one big thing. So besides being willing to embrace change and try new things when old things weren't working anymore, this would be my second another thing, is I have committed to moving but I have approached that same mentality with my movement. So, um, those of you who know me know I'm a pretty big CrossFitter. I love CrossFit. It's become a habit for me. But even within the realm of CrossFit, I change kind of what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm focused more on lifting heavy. Sometimes I'm focused more on cardio capacity, and so I change it up. But I have committed to activity, and then over the years, that activity has changed. So I started as a runner, and then I wouldn't even say that. No, I started as a classes girl. I loved classes, and then I started running. Then I started weight training, and then I kind of the running backed off. But now I'm rediscovering running, right? Because my situation changed. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The gym was closed for months. I couldn't go. So what do? I'll start running, right? So that's another example of how sometimes the situations around you are going to dictate what you can and cannot do. And so you have to be willing to kind of move your target. So I ended it with, I guess my short answer to the top thing that has helped me keep my weight off is embracing change without guilt or shame of my guilting or shaming myself. Like, this should work. You should be able to weigh yourself every day without any, mental anguish. But we all know sometimes it's there. So I thought that was a really good question, and I'm kind of glad that she let me kind of dive into it for myself, because I feel like right now I am going through that change. I am rediscovering running. I am kind of stepping away from macro counting for a little while. I just needed to eat a little bit more intuitively because I was getting to that point where I would food journal and I would do really great and I would hit all my targets, and then I'd be like, I really want some ice cream or I really want a drink with the husband. I want some wine with dinner. And I was trying to kind of fit this intuitiveness with this macro counting, and it was just work. I said, you know what? Let me just take a little break, a couple weeks, no food journal for a little while, and step away from it and eat more intuitively. And then I can start it back up when I feel like I need some more accountability or have that kind of time to devote to it, or whatever changes might happen. I feel like it's cool, and you should embrace kind of where you are, and what you're doing should be serving you at all times. I'm so tired of doing, maybe this is my age talking, but I'm just tired of doing things that don't bring me joy in the moment. So if macro counting is bringing me joy and I feel great and I'm on the wagon, great. But if it's not, then I'm also not going to shame myself, because I was like, I need a break. I want to have a crush and a burger and not worry about the fact that it has cheese on it, which makes my fat go over, or whatever it might be. Like, I just need a break from that. So I feel like it's a balance. I know it's cheesy. I told you a lot of people would not like my answer. But I hope some of you got something out of it and maybe can be a little kinder to yourselves. That's kind of my goal. Okay. So enough rambling about that, I think. I'm sure I made no sense. I do have 2 movies, which was supposed to be 3 movies, but I'll give you the joke of the last movie at the end. So I was home alone last night, so that means I got to watch whatever I wanted, and I decided to do a horror movie double feature with whatever I could find on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, these are available. Both these movies came out in 2018. And they're both pretty unknown, I think. Well, I mean, there weren't blockbusters, that's for sure. I haven't heard of either of them. I just kind of discovered them as I was peering through my selections on Netflix. So the first one I watched was called Headcount. It's from 2018. I don't think the actors in there were anyone that I knew from anything else, to be honest. I usually go down rabbit holes and check out the cast. And this was an interesting movie. So it reminds me of, in the vein of like Candyman or Bloody Mary, or, these movies where like if you, Beetlejuice, right? So if you like say the name of this thing so many times in a dark room, then they'll come and haunt you forever and kill all your friends, right? This is the kind of movie it was. But I will say this movie, I really enjoyed it. It was... it kept me guessing for a little while what was going to happen. And at first you think nothing's happening, but then things are happening. I enjoyed the movie watching of it, and the characters. It worked for me. I liked it. I didn't get the greatest reviews, I don't think, on Rotten Tomatoes. I always check Rotten Tomatoes. I think it got like a 5.5 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database. Again, kind of like last week, it's not the best movie you'll ever see, but if you kind of like macabre, Candyman, Beetlejuice, Bloody Mary style movies, it wasn't particularly gory in any way, or wasn't, it's just kind of a cool story with like an interesting cast or interesting characters. And the ending didn't bother me, which I have this theory that like no one knows how to end a horror movie ever. Like every horror movie, like it's good until the end, and then you're like, really? There's like a ghost? What? It's like it doesn't make sense. So this ending, the movie kept me guessing, and it was kind of fun to watch. So I think it makes kind of like a nice date night in movie. The second movie I saw, again, it's kind of still in the same genre, but completely different. This one's more of a survivalist movie. So I'm trying to think of a movie where it's similar to, but like I can't remember the name of it right now. But that movie where like they hunt the humans kind of movie, kind of like that, but not really. So it's called What Keeps You Alive. It's also from 2018, available on Netflix. And it's a really small cast, which I like movies that don't have too many characters sometimes. I feel like it's kind of fun to tell a story with less overhead. So I think, honestly, if you even look at Internet Movie Database, I think there's only 4 or 5 actors in the movie. Like, there's not even extras. So it's kind of neat. And it's about a couple, 2 women who are going on vacation. I think they're celebrating their anniversary, and that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin it. But it is a survivalist. I would call it a survivalist horror. Is that a genre? I can make up my own genres. I think Internet Movie Database ranks it as a thriller. It's scored slightly higher than Headcount, and I could see why. I think it's a little bit more indie artsy. I don't know. Anyway, you'll have to tell me. I have to probably stop doing random horror movie recommendations that nobody wants to hear. But like I said, I kind of enjoy, I kind of feel like I'm giving myself a mission to discover one new movie to share with you every week, which is kind of exciting. Oh, I almost forgot. My third movie I have attempted to watch twice and fell asleep both times. So I think that's all you need to know about the movie. It's called Winchester, and it was also made in 2018. And it has, I think it's Helen Mirren in it. I think it's Mirren who's the main character. I'm only about a half hour in because I keep falling asleep. It is based on the true a woman who lived in the early 1900s on the West Coast who built that house. I've heard of this story before, so it wasn't a foreign story to me. But she was like the heir of the Winchester like rifle family, and she felt like her family's money was like blood money. And so some people believe, I believe that some people believe that she kept adding on to her house as a way to like keep spirits away or something like that. So this is like the Hollywood version story. So it's based on a true story. And it has the guy from Planet of the Apes. I can't remember his name right now. I need to become more prepared with these instead of rambling about them. I love him, but it's just so slow and boring that I will probably watch it again, try again to watch it. But it's something that I put on to fall asleep at this point. And I do have a habit of doing this where sometimes I'll fall asleep watching a movie. I can fall asleep almost watching any movie. If I don't fall asleep watching a movie, it's like a huge, indicator that the movie is actually pretty good because I really can fall asleep with anything. In this one, I mean, I think I watched 20 minutes, fell asleep the first time, and then I was like, okay, let me put it back on, found my spot, watched it from that spot, and then 20 minutes later, fell asleep again. So I can only last about 20 minutes. This is why I don't read. I have the same problem when I try to read. If I'll read like 3 pages and then my eyes get heavy and I just fall asleep. So that's why I'm a bad fiction reader, which is a whole nother story. I should devote a whole podcast to my problem with reading. But anyway, the Winchester 2018, I can't really recommend it because I haven't finished it. It's a snoozer. It's very slow. And I don't really like generally giving bad reviews of things. It's not my nature to talk about things I don't like. I don't not like it. I just haven't gotten through it yet because it's kind of slow. Yeah, I'm pretty positive. Okay, so I am approaching the 30-minute mark, and I do not want to use up much more of my alone time talking to you guys. No, no, oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? No insult. No. I hope you're not insulted. I don't need anything. I don't mean anything by that. I want to pick another movie on Netflix and just hang out by myself in my quiet house with my dog who's sleeping. By the way, I don't know if you guys know I have a dog. I didn't have a dog for a really long time, but we have a little Shih Tzu Bichon mix. So they call them teddy bears, and he does look like a teddy bear. Hey, Marshy. He's always sleeping next to me when I'm recording, and it's the cutest thing. Hey. He's that kind of dog that'll sit on your lap while you're having Zoom calls for work, which is kind of fun. But anyway, me and the dog are going to go enjoy another cheesy movie on Netflix. So I hope you have a great week. If you have any questions, shoot them to me on ronnienew.com or Facebook or Instagram. Those are probably the best 3 forms of communication for me. And I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.